Hi, I'm Brian McDonald, editor with O'Reilly Media. I'm here today with Kitt Hodsden, independent web consultant, and we're going to be talking about automating on the front end. So, Kitt, why do I want to do automation? What does it get me?
You want to do automation because you want to be efficient and you want to be lazy. You want to use the tools so that when you learn something, you know how to do it, and then you don't have to think in order to continue to do it. You can just automate it and have it done more efficiently.
So that requires an investment of time initially.
Absolutely. I typically do things 3 times. The first time I'm doing it, I'm learning something, I'm figuring out things, checking things like there are different options that are available. And then the second time, well, I know how to do this, and the third time I'm going to automate it so that I don't have to think about this again. And that's true for command line tools that I'm using. It's true for changing directories and that sort of thing, but also in terms of workflows. In terms of if I don't want to have to sit there for 2 hours resizing images, I'm just going to create a process to do that and have it run.
That makes good sense. So then what tools do you use for this sort of task?
Depends on the task, but for front-end development, I use Grunt for a lot of the automation. If I'm in the keyboard and I'm just doing day-to-day things, I use a Mac, so I use Alfred App, which is a productivity application and enables me with 2 keystrokes to launch just about anything on my laptop. But in terms of the workflow development, the front-end development, I use Grunt for launching tests. I do it for resizing the images as another example. I sometimes use it for making sprites, although I'm more likely to use Compass, SAS and Compass for generating my sprites. I also use it, my favorite tool in Grunt is Browser Sync. And it enables me to set up on one of my monitors 6 or 7 different browsers of varying sizes and types. And then when I change something in my main browser, it will then update in all of the other browsers. So I don't have to click reload, quickly. And it just is more efficient. I can immediately see, did the change that I make work in all of these browsers?
So it's a positive feedback loop.
Absolutely.
So would you say that these sorts of tools are aimed more towards the design end or more towards the developer?
I would say initially they're towards the developer because some of them are command line or they require just a little bit more thinking in terms of the process. But the lines between designer and developer are blurring.
Sure.
And a lot of the, let's make this easier for the developer so you get a bigger market both with the beginning developers, and then that bleeds over into the designers who are learning to program and the designers who know how to program.
So do you think that this helps people when they're learning to program?
Help when they're learning. Depends, like on most things, whether or not they learn the basics or if they just, how do I do this? I just want to do this. I don't want to know the how and the wow. So in some cases it helps if they explore, but that's true of most things. If you explore and learn the how, then it definitely helps. Otherwise, it's just another tool that you don't necessarily know about.
Right. So how do you evaluate a tool to learn whether it fits into your workflow? I mean, there seems to be a lot out there.
It does. I read the documentation, a lot of the information on the websites, and sometimes there's a lot of watching a coworker, and the coworker is like, does something, it's like, wait, how did you do that? That's, oh my God. And so learning a little bit by osmosis in that way, but always being curious about things really helps. And if someone like on Twitter says, hey, I've just done this, I'll go ahead and peek it. I'll read the articles and then, will this work? Where does this work? And it helps to take time off to learn about something new. If you're always learning, then you discover amazing things.
Well, that's a good policy in general.
It is.
So when you're talking about automation, is there a $ that you can put on it? When you're working with a client, can you say, if we take time out to establish a workflow, it'll save you money?
I typically come in with the workflows. Being a consultant and coming in, I come in with a large set of knowledge, which is what they're paying for. And so I tend to play with things on my own time. Would be great to be able to do that. But being efficient enables me to get these projects done more quickly, which means, of course, that I can be on to more interesting projects, should I need to be.
So what sort of trends are you seeing in these tools? I mean, are they improving over time?
Oh, they're absolutely improving, and they're expanding in scope. So things that, I never even thought that I needed this, and then when you realize that, this thing that you took a couple hours to do is now available, makes things a little easier. A good example of this is Yeoman, which is a generator. And you can, instead of copying and pasting and wait, what was this, and looking up these things, you run this generator and you've got this opinionated framework, but it does what you want it to do. It does an initial setup, but then you can then customize this to do what you want it to do. And so now the next time you come along, you can just use this generator. And so you're saving time in that too. So the scope expands, and as the tools mature, they become easier, they become faster, and they become more widespread.
Well, it sounds like you've developed a lot of efficiencies for getting the work done. It's always good stuff.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your time.
Very welcome.